Hi, welcome back. In this video, we are going to talk about groups, sets, and hierarchies. So this is a pretty interesting combination. So if you remember, we touched a bit about hierarchies when we talked about dates. So let's go back there and kind of let's look at the what we just talked about. So let's say I have total sales, which is I think about 2.2 million. And now let's drag it by order date, or let's put it by order. So if you see here, the date it is distributed across years, and the moment I have this plus sign and I click it, it's basically drilling down. So right now the year is broken down into multiple quarters. So this is quarter 1 2011 divided into 4 quarters and across. So once we have this detail, if you see, this is what we mean by hierarchy is we start off with the one we start off with a higher level detail, and then you keep drilling down. So you can break the quarter into months, and then for example, let's say we want a year across. So let's put in the year here. So across year we can do it by in each year how are we getting the detail. So I don't want it by year here anymore, so I just want it by the quarter. So if you look at the data right now, in 2011, in quarter 1, you are able to compare in January for all the 4 years. So this is pretty much what hierarchy is about, is where we can have, or we can drill this down further and further till the lowest grain we get it. In this case, the lowest is the day in which we get it. So dates by default have this natural hierarchy where you have the year, then you have quarter, then you have month, then you have week, and then day. What if we wanted to create a new hierarchy? Like if you look at the dimensions that we have right here, by default, you will think that subcategory and category form one dimension, right? So why don't we drag that in there? So let's say I drag the subcategory onto the category, and it says, hey, you have a new category. It's by default it will give you all the columns in there. Let's say I put in product category, product as the name of this. So right now if you look at it, we had a new hierarchy where we built in product category, which has category, and then it has subcategory. And let's say we add in the product ID to the mix. So all I need to do is I just need to take it below that subcategory, and you see that single line that is coming up, that's where it is going to be added. So if you see now, all three of them are in there, and obviously product name should be in there. Maybe I want before product ID, so you can just you can just take it there and leave it there, and by default it will go there. So, and if you want, once you made a hierarchy, you can rearrange it just by dragging it up and down. So like for example, you want the product name next, you can just drag it there. So now let's see about the sales, right? So I have my total sales, which is the sum of the sales is like 2.2, and let's say I drag my product category across. So right now let's say I want the sum right there. So let's click show me. So right now if you see, so right now I'm at a category level, and this is a new category that I created. So as I click it in, I can drill down further and further into all the subcategories that are there. So because we have the product ID right there, so once you click at this, you might think it's not the right one, so you just click the product name right there. And right now, so the thing is, once you have added a detail, it does not change. So if you want to change the detail, you have to go back and then redo it, because that's how Tableau will know once you have it in the report. So this is all about hierarchies. You can create as many hierarchies as we want. So for example, the other normal hierarchy that is available, that normally people do is where we have the country, city, country, state, and city, and then the zip. So let's try to do that. Okay, let's go to the country and state and say, let's say geo is one more good thing that we can do. Country has a lot of states, and then it has a lot of in US we have a lot of states, and each state has a lot of zip codes, or a lot of cities, for example. So I'm going to add city right there, and then if you have any zip, we can add it. Like in this case, we can add the zip right there. So if you right now look at it, we have one, we are kind of categorizing all of the data into really good hierarchy, so that it will be easy for us to kind of analyze the data as we go forward. So for example, let's say we want to do this analysis in category by geographical location, right? So let's add that one there. So if you see, or let's move this to here. So if you see, most of all our sales in this case are coming from United States, but if you click the plus, then you can see by each state how you're doing in all of the three. So basically you can looks like California, as we know, is one of the best performing ones, and the other ones we have is other bit. I think the other one we had was Texas or something. So we can basically play with that, and the earlier thing we did, we can go to edit access and same say independent access, so that you have data across rather than having the same one, and you always we have zeros, so we can say don't include zeros. This was what we covered in our earlier section. So this talks more. So I don't like to have a zero on there, because each data is independent of each other. So this is all about hierarchies. So now let's go and talk a bit more about grouping. So let me go and start a new sheet. So grouping is a pretty powerful tool in Tableau, and this is one where Tableau is very beneficial about, especially when we want to do what if analysis. So let me drag product categories, and let me get the sales of those, right? So let's say when I click on this and I add when I click on the category symbol, so I see a bunch of the subcategories. And now let's add order date, and just say I have a new filter that I am adding, that I only want to analyze the last year of data, like 2014, the data that is available right now. So I'm going to expose this as a show quick filter or show filter. So right now if you look at it, so we are having bookcases, and also let me add profit to this mix, so that I can, and I'm going to let me first look at the data, and then I will come back. So if you look at this,